Mostly sunny day tomorrow, the high 69. Partly sunny, breezy day on Thursday, warmer, and the high up to 74. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
49 at O'Hare and sunshine, 43 this morning in Aurora. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The question was Trump right to cede northeast Syria and combating ISIS to Turkey, or is he a Turkey for abandoning U.S. Kurdish allies? President Trump yesterday explaining his decision.
I mean, they have natural enemies. They've been fighting each other for, somebody said today, hundreds of years. I mean, one historian said they've been fighting for hundreds of years. We interject ourselves into wars, and we interject ourselves into tribal wars and revolutions and all these things that are very, they're not the kind of thing that you settle the way we'd like to see it settled. It just doesn't work that way. But hopefully that'll all be very strong and strongly done. We're spending tremendous amounts of money. I can tell you the two countries that are most disappointed that we're leaving are China and Russia, because they love that we're bogged down and just watching and spending tremendous amounts of money instead of continuing to build our forces.
The time has come, President Trump said.
We are doing what we have to do, but we've been there for many years, many years beyond what we were supposed to be. Not fighting, just there. And it's time to come back home. But I can understand the other side of it. But if you go by the other side, that means we should never, ever come home. We should never, ever come home. And, you know, I have to sign letters often to parents of young soldiers that were killed. And it's the hardest thing I have to do in this job. I hate it. Afghanistan. I signed one the other day, Iraq. Syria. They get blown up by mines. They get taken out by a sniper. But there has to be an end game. And if you stay, it's going to be the same thing. Eventually, you're going to have to leave. It's going to be the same thing. So I think what we're doing is the right thing. A lot of people agree with me.
And a lot of people don't.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. You can tell that it was hurting his heart during that press conference yesterday. I actually thought he was going to start crying. But the Republican reaction from this catastrophic mistake, terribly unwise decision, ensures an ISIS comeback. And even Lindsey Graham, one of his biggest allies, is upset.
This impulsive decision by the president has undone all the gains we've made, thrown the region into further chaos. Iran is licking their chops. And if I'm an ISIS fighter, I've got a second lease on life. So to those who think ISIS has been defeated, you will soon see. I'm making myself clear how short-sighted and irresponsible this decision is, in my view.
All right, a lot to unpack here to help us do that, I should say. We're pleased to be joined again by Jed Babbin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Jed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Do we have Jed?
Mr. Babbin.
Hello, Jed. Do we have him or no? Okay. Well, we'll effort to get Jed Babbin. I'm sorry?
I said he was on the line. We're going to effort to call him back.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little preview. His piece at spectator.org, Perfidious POTUS, again, we're betraying the Kurds. So that kind of tells you where he's coming down. And I got to say, just to take one step back with respect to the substance of the decision, the tweeting out, the rhetorical choices of this president just often confound me, like I know many others. Unmatched wisdom and threatening to obliterate Turkey's economy if they engage in war crimes against the Kurds. I mean, it's just bizarre. The other thing that was interesting is there was a call by a senior administration official who shall remain anonymous with reporters late Monday, where he seemed to walk back the pronouncements you just heard from Trump, saying on this call, this is U.S. News, I'm getting this U.S. News and World Report,
Yeah.
U.S. is not removing its forces from Syria in the face of a Turkish incursion, said the official. Rather, the president ordered roughly 50 special operations troops in northern Syria to relocate to a different part of the country after he learned that Turkey has planned an offensive against U.S.-backed Kurdish forces in Syria, and that offensive had not yet begun. So I'm a little confused as to what the actual policy is. All right, now to help us work through that confusion, Jed Babbin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to Washington Times, American Spectator. Jed, thank you for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Hi, guys. Good to be here.
So what do you understand the actual decision to be based on this conflicting information?
Well, the actual decision is what the president announced. We're pulling out of northern Syria, and we're making way specifically so that the Turks can go in there and bomb the snot out of the Kurds. It is a truly stupid decision by the president, and I do not understand why he would not listen to his advisors who are telling him. I think all of them, as far as I understand it, they're all saying, do not do this because it helps Russia, it helps Iran, it helps ISIS, and it helps Hezbollah. It is just a bizarrely bad decision.
But did he even consult with them? I mean, it sounds like he did this, in the middle of the night on late Sunday. Did he talk to them first?
We don't know, Amy. I mean, I don't know that the man listens to anybody. I think he makes some very good decisions sometimes, and he makes some really god-awful decisions, and this is one of the latter.
There were reports.
I don't know who he's listening to, if anybody.
Yeah, there were reports, though, that there was this idea that he just did this on a whim and that he hadn't talked to anybody. And there were reports that refuted that he actually had talked to advisors. I don't know which ones, but there was reporting that suggested there were conversations about this. And Jed, your characterization is correct of those reports, that his senior advisors he talked to were opposed to this. When it comes to pulling out of Syria and ceding this territory to Turkey, am I to understand correctly that we were there, whatever footprint we had was there for artillery and air support, and that the Kurds, the YPG, were doing most of the on-the-ground fighting?
That's correct. We have special forces there. There have been Marine artillery units there, heavily engaged. I don't think that they've been heavily engaged recently, but they were a year ago or less. We've been there for a while. I mean, look, I was totally opposed to intervening in Syria when this first came up under the Obama administration in 2012 and 2013. We had no significant interest in Syria at the time. However, life has changed. Iran and Russia have basically carved Syria up to make it a not even a tributary state, just basically their colony, their satrap, and they have used that to expand elsewhere in the Middle East. Turkey has helped them. Turkey is not our friend, it's our enemy, and God only knows why Trump is continuing to listen to Erdogan. But I think we have to take a step back here and pull back on the stick, get a little altitude, and say, hey, this is a really bad decision, and it's been consistently a bad decision to go in first when we had no interest, now to get out when we do have a significant interest. And when the Kurds, we cannot just abandon the Kurds who have been fighting with us, shedding blood with us. And now we're telling Erdogan, well, yeah, if you want to go and massacre them, that's just fine with us. That's a perfidious decision. It's just a really, really bad idea.
What kind of numbers are we talking about? What do we have, 1,000 men there on the ground?
We have about 1,000 to 2,000. A lot of them are special operations. We do have, just not on the ground, we have a significant air presence,
Right.
which comes in from several other countries. And I don't think we have any carriers in range right now, but we could have carriers in range. And, the basic point here is there are enough people there to keep the peace. What we could have done and should have done, for example, we could have told Erdogan that we're creating a no-fly zone, and that if he or his troops intervene against the Kurds, we would bomb the snot out of them, and they frankly would not have done it. but we didn't do that. We've told the Doan, well, hey, have your way with the Kurds, and we're just going to say the hell with them.
Now, Republican lawmakers who are pretty upset with Trump's decision, on Syria, said that this ensures an ISIS comeback. How does that happen?
Well, Amy, it happens in several ways. First off, it gives ISIS free reign in that area and Hezbollah. I mean, it's going to become a terrorist sanctuary. Number two, there are, according to various reports I've read, up to 10,000 ISIS and other terrorist fighters who have been imprisoned there by us and by the Kurds. And what this is basically a get-out-of-jail-free card for them. So they're going to be turned loose the whole world to deal with. We were trying to get some of the European powers to take back their citizens, who are many among those ISIS fighters, and they, of course, refused. They never cooperate with us on anything related to defense. So, we basically have to turn these guys loose now, and that's basically what's going to happen. It's a terrorist safe haven, turning loose 10,000 terrorist fighters, and this can't be good news for anybody except the terrorists.
There's an argument to be made. I want to get your reaction to this, that an argument that is being made, that the Gulf Cooperation Council, which has anywhere, I guess, between 100 and 250,000 troops under its collective command, is more than capable of taking care of Turkey and holding them at bay. Just let me make the argument, then you react. But this is the argument that's being made, that Trump is not putting his finger on the scale for Turkey or the Kurds. He's abdicating. He's suggesting abdication with respect to both, and the Gulf Cooperation Council can step in and essentially, be the arbiter on the matter.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll bet you a case of my favorite wine, which is really expensive, that they do nothing. That the Gulf Cooperation Council, as always, refuses to do anything that's going to stick their necks out one little bit. Do I have a bet?
No, I just wanted you to get.
Brunello. Okay, it's a 2012 Brunello. It's about, I think it's about $100 a bottle.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get you to respond to the argument.
Well, you're smart.
Yes.
You're very smart. No, the basic point here is the Gulf Cooperation Council does nothing. It does nothing except fight amongst itself. They're basically, I don't know how many, 30 or 40 members of the GCC, and it includes nations such as Saudi Arabia and Jordan and so on. And what these nations do is they look to the United States and say, hey, gringo turistas, you go fight our wars. And that's what they've done, since World War II or maybe even before that. So they're not going to do a darn thing. They could, as you point out, certainly they could. They have the military and the manpower to do that, but they're not going to. They never, ever do.
And so, but how do you respond to Trump's contention, as you said before? Look, based the argument that even some of his Republican colleagues are making, just has us with a permanent presence everywhere we establish a presence initially. I mean, this is sort of the same conversation that's going on with respect to Afghanistan. How do you respond to that?
Well, my response to that is we can and should end the wars. We can and should.
Jed, you're cutting out on us just a little bit.
What I'm saying is we should end those wars.
Jed, I'm sorry, we're losing you. I'm sorry, we're losing you on that.
Am I there?
Yes, there you're back. Yes, Jed.
Sorry.
No.
I was saying. Oh, hello.
One more try, Jed. Are you there?
Sure.
All right. Well, we're going to have to leave it there with Jed. Boy, this is a struggle this morning. It's technology. What are you going to do? But
get through it.
Jed Babbin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times, the American Spectator. Check out his column at spectator.org, Perfidious POTUS. And we appreciate him joining us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Want your home's furnace to stay safe and reliable? And want to prevent any potential problems before they happen? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an annual